In this video, I'm going to walk you through your first lab for the course. This is really just a practice lab, so it won't count for marks, but it is good to help you review physical chemical changes and also physical chemical properties. It's also going to give you some practice learning how to submit labs and also how to do the lab quiz process. So in this course, what will happen is you'll be assigned a lab. And you'll go through that virtual lab using videos, through a document, and following instructions. You'll complete it. Sometimes there'll be lab reports. Sometimes they'll be learning new concepts in the lab. But either way, you're going to go through the lab to learn all the concepts thoroughly. Once you're done the lab, you're done writing the report or putting in your answers, you would then submit to a Dropbox, that finalized copy of the lab as a PDF. And then you would go and complete a lab quiz found under Brightspace. And so the lab quiz, you're allowed to use your lab notes and your lab resources that you did during the lab itself to complete that. And that will be marked and going towards your lab quiz marks in the course. And the other cool thing is whenever I do assign a lab, the answers will be provided to you so you can double check your work before you submit and make corrections as you go. So it's really important that you actually try the lab out and check your answers, check for understanding so you can make sure you really understand the concepts before you go ahead and attempt the quiz. So this is our first lab over here. It's called the Physical and Chemical Change Lab. You click on it to open it up and you'll get to this page over here. And what you're going to see is you'll have the background information provided to you with what a chemical change is, what a physical change is, and you'll have the clues of it as well. And then you'll be given the task. So in the task, you'll have to go through a series of videos of different processes, and you'll have to fill out this observation table. And so what you'll do is you'll watch the video and you'll describe the initial appearance of the substances you're dealing with. So what do the chemicals look like at the very beginning? So I put a sample here of the level of depth I'm looking for. So in this video, you'll see lead nitrate is described as clear, colorless liquid solution, whereas potassium iodide is described as clear, colorless liquid solution as well. And that can be seen in the video. Observations, once the mixing happens, you notice the yellow precipitate forms. And then you have to tell me if it's a physical or chemical change. And based on your answer here, you provide me with a clue. So you'll see that I said it was a chemical change, and the reason for that was that there was a solid chunk that formed, a precipitate formed. So I used one of the evidences of chemical reactions or chemical change here to justify why it was a chemical change. Not all of them have to be chemical changes. Some of them can be physical changes as well. And so you'll do that for all of these ones over here. I recommend that you sometimes work with a peer in order to compare answers and to check each other's understanding, or work with someone you're comfortable with. You may have lab groups assigned to you, or sometimes you might be given the choice to who you're working with. And then there's a few practice questions that you can do here. They're additional response questions are called. And so what you do is you answer this question over here and this question over here as well. And what I recommend is that you either type it out, or sometimes in the course you'll have to write out your work handwritten, take a picture, and insert it here. So what I want you to do is, since this is a practice lab, I want you to practice doing that. I want you to take a picture of your work and for this question and insert it here, and then do the same thing for question number 2 and insert it here. And then what happens is once you're done with all your work that you've done here, you can file, download it as a PDF, because you're going to be uploading it as a PDF. So you'll download this as a PDF, and when you're ready, you'll go to the Dropbox in our chemistry course. So grade 11 chemistry. You'll see a Dropbox up here, and you'll go to the Dropbox for the Physical and Chemical Changes Lab. You'll click on that. When you get there, you'll be able to upload a file, and you'll only really need to upload one file specifically, which is the PDF file of the lab that you were working on, this one over here. And so by that point, after you've submitted, you've understood all the material. And to make sure you've understood it, what you should do actually even before you submit, which I forgot to mention, is the answers are linked over here. So you can open this up and you can check your work to make sure you're on the right track. And you want to model after this. so that you learn how to fill out observation tables properly. And then same thing over here. You want to model after that, so you learn how to answer questions properly and appropriately and concisely as well. So this is a really good practice lab session. Again, once you've checked your work, you go to the Dropbox, you find the Dropbox that is assigned as a physical chemical change lab, and you submit there as a PDF file. So you want to practice submitting and uploading work in this lab. Once that's done, you can go to quizzes. And under quizzes, you will see an active quiz under Unit 1. You won't see all this. This is a mess only because this is what I see. You'll see a practice quiz under review that's called Practice Physical and Chemical Change Lab Quiz. You'll complete that and submit it. Most of your labs this year will work in a similar way. You'll be assigned a lab report, lab to complete, a virtual lab with videos and with virtual tasks. You'll complete it, check your work, submit to a Dropbox, and then do the quiz. And the part that's really counting for your marks and for checking for understanding is the lab quiz that you submit to Brightspace. And that will typically be done on your own time. There may be some work periods provided in class sometimes, but it'll be done as homework, and you'll be able to use your notes your notes and your learning that you do in class in order to help you do well on the lab. One more thing to mention is your teacher will probably put due dates somewhere on their calendar. For me, for example, I will put due dates below on our calendar over here. And based on those due dates, you know when to submit to Dropbox and when to complete the quiz. So you'll see over here that I put you need to complete lab and submit to Dropbox, and then you need to complete the practice quiz on Brightspace. And that would signify the end of that particular assignment.